Ansible Linux automation, we need to set up a control node and management node. First, we will discuss the control node setup. Control node setup. Install Ansible. First, we have to install Ansible in the control node. Ansible is an agentless service, so no need to install any Ansible package in the management node. We need to ensure the latest version of Python installed in the management node. Create a user Ansible. We have to create a user for Ansible script execution. We are not using root the super user. We are using Ansible user for script execution. So we need to create a user Ansible. Grant sudo access to user Ansible. If any script that required root access, we have to add Ansible user in the sudo users file to get root privileges. We need to add the Ansible user in the sudo users list and grant privileges to login without root password. Set up passwordless authentication between control and management node. Ansible is an agentless service, so we need to set up a passwordless authentication between the control node and management node. So we need to generate an SSH key and copy the control node public key into the management node. So we need to create an SSH key in both servers. Management node inventory setup. To execute the script in the management node, we need to create an inventory of management node servers in the control node. The management node server details, we have to add the Ansible host file. We will discuss the Ansible inventory in the next video, Ansible inventory and project directory. This video we will discuss how to add the management node detail in the Ansible host file. We have to create an Ansible user in the management node. We are executing all script using Ansible user. So we need to create an Ansible user in all management node servers. We need to add the user in the sudo users file to get root privileges. We have to create an SSH key for Ansible user and need to add the control node public key in the Ansible users authorized key file. For passwordless authentication setup. Now we can start configuring the control node and management node in CentOS 9. If you like my video, please subscribe my YouTube channel. Now we can install Ansible in control node. We are installing the Ansible user DNF command. As discussed, we are not using root user for executing the Ansible script, so that after the installation we can create an Ansible user. The installation has been started now. Installation has been completed. Now we can create a user using user add command. User creation has been completed. To get root privileges to execute the script, we need to add the user in the sudo users file. We can use vi sudo command to add user in the sudo users file. We have added the Ansible user in the sudo users file. Now we can check the status. We can log in as Ansible. Now we can able to log in as root user without root password. To set up passwordless authentication, we need to create an SSH key. Once the key has been created, the basic configuration setup of control node will be completed. After the basic installation step, we will set up the passwordless authentication and inventory configuration. That we will do after the management node basic setup has been completed. The basic setup of control node has been completed. Now we can start set up the management nodes. Management node, we have to create a user and need to add it in the sudo users file for root privileges. Then we need to create an SSH key for passwordless authentication. Now we can create a user. We have created the user. Now we can check the sudo user status. So we can see that a user not able to log in as root user without root password. So we need to add it in the sudo users file. Now we can add the user in the sudo users file and we will check the status. We have added the user in the sudo users file. Now we can see that we are able to log in without root password. Now we can create an SSH key for Ansible user. We have created the key and now we have completed the basic setup of management node 1. Now we can set up the same basic configuration in the second management node. We are creating a user in management node 2. We have created the user in management node 2. Now we can add it in the sudo users file. We have added Ansible user in the sudo users file. Now we can check the status. We can log in as Ansible. It works fine. We are able to log in without root password. Now we can create an SSH key. We have created the key. Now we can set up passwordless authentication between control node and management node. For passwordless authentication setup, first we need to add the management node server details in the host file of control node. Instead of IP address, we are using hostname in the Ansible inventory configuration. That's why we are adding the hostname in the host file. We are not using the DNS, so that we are adding the hostname in the /etc file, host file. If you are using DNS to resolve the hostname, so no need to add the hostname in the host file. If you are using IP address, no need to add the management node details in the host file. We have added the management node details in the host file. To set up passwordless authentication, we need to add the control node public key in the management nodes. We can add the public key of control node in the management nodes. We can add it in two ways. First, we can add it using SSH copy ID command. So first login as Ansible. We can use SSH copy ID command to copy the SSH key of control node to the management node 1. SSH copy ID, then management node name. We have added the key in the management node 1. Now we can check that in the management node 1. We can see that the authorized key file has been created in the management node 1. So passwordless authentication between control node and management node 1 has been completed. Now we can add the key in the management node 2. In management node, we have to create a authorized key file in the management node 2. After that, we can copy the key from control node to the management node 2. First, we can create a authorized key file. Then we need to change the permission to 600. We have created the file and changed the configuration, change the permission to 600. Now we can copy the key from control node. Copy the key into the authorized key file. We have added the key. Now we can check the status. We can see that we are able to log in without password. Our passwordless authentication between control node and management node has been completed now. Now we can add the inventory details in the Ansible inventory file. After that, we can execute the Ansible command from the control. Now we can add management server detail in the Ansible host file. We are adding to management server host name in Ansible host file. We have added the management server detail in the host file. Our control node and management configuration has been completed. Now we can start executing the Ansible script to manage the management node servers. We can log in as Ansible to execute the script. First we can check the servers are communicating each other, so we can execute a ping command to both servers with this new Ansible host file configuration. We have executed the command. We can see that the command executed and the output is success. Our configuration is working fine. Now we can execute a command to create a directory in Ansible users home directory. We have executed the command. The command is executed. We can check the status in management nodes. The directory is created in both servers. We can create another directory and check the status. We have created another directory. Test node 1 is created in both servers. The command is working fine. Now we can execute the command with root user privileges. We can create a directory in the root folder. The command has executed. We can check the status. Now we can create another directory. The command is executed and we can check the status. The test node 2 is created. The directory is created in the root folder. The configuration is working fine. Ansible control and management node setup video has been completed. Next video we will discuss Ansible host and project directory.